Wow, what a crowd. Great to see everybody. I'm Bill Wyatt, Executive Director of Airports for Salt Lake City, and I think it goes without saying that this day has been a long time in coming. I often get the question from people about why it was we didn't do this in the first place, and so if you're familiar with the old airport, you remember it all. We're standing about where the end of Concourse D was, which meant that we would have to have torn down the old airport, waited for 6 years until we had a new airport. And so we built this mid-concourse tunnel, which will remain in service, but not the perfect customer experience. And this obviously will really make the passenger experience, those traveling on Concourse B, a much more pleasant experience. And so we thought we would do what we didn't get to do when the original part of the new airport opened, which is celebrate, have a bit of a party. And we're thrilled to have all of you there. I would just note, if you haven't been to an event like this at an airport before, it is an airport. There will be passenger boarding announcements. There will be lost bags and lost phones and return to the gate and all kinds of things like that going on, unless somebody turned that off, which I doubt. So just prepare yourself for that, but really a very fun moment. And so right sort of in the middle of the crowd, underneath them there is the original world map from Terminal 1 in the old airport. And we have a great video here, and I'm looking for who I'm cueing on this. All right, cue the video. A little world map story that I think you will all appreciate.
I remember when I was 8 years old and I stood on this map and I was planning where I was going to travel.
I've seen that map over and over and over again as a kid, as an employee.
The world map was really integral to the experience of the airport for so many people.
I dare guess there's not a person in the state that hasn't had some personal attachment to this map.
We're all sad that, it won't be safe. We at least got to walk on it while it was whole and see it while it was whole.
In 1960, the Salt Lake City International Airport installed the world map. The map's fate came into question in 2014 when the airport broke ground on its new terminal.
I am the last person alive, to my knowledge, that worked on that map. I just look down at it and say, I worked on that thing. If they're going to destroy it, that's crazy.
I get this question all the time, what's going to happen to the world map? And if you haven't heard this story already, I'll tell you, it was not possible to save. Just the manner in which it was constructed makes that so.
We wanted to be able to save the world map, but just based on the expert opinion at the time, it was determined that it was too brittle and would break up and wouldn't be viable.
You would have to move it in the sections where the expansion joints are in. You're talking about something that deep.
It can't be saved just the way it was installed, and you can't pick it up and move it. So we did some very high resolution photography, enhanced that photography, and transcribed it into a glass wall in the meet and greet area. That will be kind of one of those Kodak moment places we expect.
So it'll still be around, but it is unfortunate to lose that because it's such a significant piece of airport history.
We're determining, all right, do we just munch this up and throw it away? Or do we salvage some pieces of it for souvenirs? The airport did a core of the terrazzo, and based on that core, we have an inch of terrazzo and an inch and a half of setting bed. And in that process, this core came out pretty easy.
We were able to determine that we can salvage it. It was built in such a way, we cut it, we can lift it, and we can save it, and we can salvage it.
I almost thought it was a joke. Like, this is something that in the terrazzo industry is never been done. First time thing that moving, something of this size and this scale.
By extracting it, we were going to be able to take all the pieces out with as little or no damage to each of the 75 pieces.
All 75 pieces of the world map sat in storage for 4 years until it was ready to install in the new terminal. In 2024, airport officials decided the best place to relocate the map was in the Concourse B Plaza.
So in order to bring them out to site, we used the numbering system and we pulled them by quadrants. Then we brought those out, we distribute them, and then we pulled the next pieces out and put those on pallets and brought those up the elevator. So when we started the install, we started from the center and then we worked our way out.
The pieces were about 4 foot by 4 foot, ranging in that area. They were cut strategically on the divider lines that were originally put in so that we would be able to seam those back together. So after they went through and did theirs, we came through and pieced all the lines and the connecting brass pieces. We had the infill to connect all those back together, which was an arduous task that took about 5-6 weeks.
The installation of the world map in the new concourse was completed in the fall of 2024.
This is something that was almost impossible, we thought, but it came together and it's been successful.
There's a lot of means and methods that went into it, and to see that we conquered all those, hats off to our entire crew at IMS for doing such a great job.
We've been thinking about it for about 4.5 years now, so I think we're getting really excited to having this to showcase to the world.
Walking past that map is just going to make us know that the world is our playground and it's home to all of us.
So I'll just say a couple of things here. One, I think it's one of the most satisfying things I've been involved with in the whole run of this project. And originally the thought was the map was sitting on a 2-foot solid grade of slab of concrete, which would have been impossible to save. But after Terminal 1 closed, our then engineering director, Kevin Robbins, sent over a contractor to take a core sample, the one that you saw here on the picture, just to make sure, because up until that moment, the assumption was it wouldn't be possible. All kinds of ideas about what to do, cut it into little medallions, make little rings out of it, or whatever. And he came in to see me the next day and brought this with him, which is the core sample. And on the bottom of the setting bed there, you'll see some marks, and the artist who installed this way back in 1961 put a mat down. And so when the core went in, this popped out, I'm told, kind of like a hockey puck. And he said, I think we can do this. And we sat down with a great team from HD and their subcontractors, and everybody was wildly enthusiastic, wasn't quite sure how to do it, but let's go for it. And it is so satisfying because I don't think there is a question that I have had directed my way more since I've been here than in those first few years. Can you save the world map? And it became clear to me as still a bit of an outsider that just about everybody in this region has a personal story to tell about their experience on the world map. This morning I wandered over and there were all kinds of people standing in the middle taking pictures of themselves that probably duplicate pictures they already have 20, 30, 40, and 50 years ago. So bringing it back, bringing it home to the airport has great meaning for all of us. It isn't the only point of today's event, but it is clearly one of the most important. Being able to make that connection again with the people of this region, the people of the world, really is special. A couple of little digressions about the world map that most people here probably don't know. When I got here, I assumed that all the route markings on the world map had something to do with the LDS Church. Why would you think that? And no, I was told. At the time, in 1961, United Airlines was the largest carrier here, and that was their route map. So take a look at it carefully, because you'll see that you had to stop in the Azores to get to Europe. To get to Japan, which, by the way, is the only part of Asia shown on the map, because the rest of it was pretty much out of bounds at that point. You had to stop in Alaska, and so on and so forth. So that's a pretty cute little piece. And then I just referenced the other one, which is you won't see either what was then the Soviet Union or China reflected on the map. So it's just our half of the world, apparently, but sweet enough nevertheless. So it is a great pleasure now for me to introduce the elected official, who I think is an elected official, has probably had the longest tenured relationship with this project in Salt Lake, the mayor of Salt Lake, Aaron Mendenhall.
Oh gosh, it's good to see you. And I gotta say, we've had a lot of openings from groundbreaking to today, and most of them have been at 5:30 in the morning. So thank you, Bill and Nancy, for organizing this at a decent hour. And I would say by the turnout today, 10:30 is a really good start time for these kind of events. What a delight to be here. This airport, Salt Lake City International, is a beautiful symbol of who Salt Lake City is and who we are right now in particular. I felt like screaming and leaping with joy as I came down the elevator into the central tunnel. Did anybody else feel an incredible sense of relief and joy coming into the tunnel for the first time? Well, I said to some people who were going the other way on the elevators, how is it? They were just coming up from the tunnel, probably for the first time, and some guy said, it's fine. Is it new? And I was like, son of a gun, you don't know what we've been waiting for here. Come on. And so, unless I need to remind you of the many airports with longer walks, including DFW with a 2.1-mile walk there, a lot of the complaints that we may have received about the exercise some people get coming to parts of the B terminal has just become shorter. We like to think of Salt Lake City and the walks here, though, as reasonable and good warm-up for your knees when you're going to go skiing or hiking here. We set out to build an airport that is sustainable, highly functional, and inspiring. And I think that we can all agree at this point, and looking forward to more openings east of us in the future, we continue to succeed on all three of those points. The inspiration point, though, is incredibly unique. Salt Lake City, similarly, is incredibly unique and at a point of tremendous growth. Every time we do one of these openings, and most recently we celebrated the peaks that welcome visitors driving into the airport. Before that, Hoberman Arch's reinstallation. And today, we get to be surprised and delighted and even inspired by three more wonderful surprises. One that you're standing on, one behind me in this curtain, and the other standing behind you and the curtain behind you. Salt Lake City International are sustainable, inspirational, and highly functional. Now, the city has got a lot of challenges, and they come with growth. And they're challenges I welcome, because I'd rather be in a position of growth at any time than a position of decline. But because of our tenacity and our values that have guided the direction of this airport creation and the way we're growing as a people, we're gonna make it. And we're gonna keep welcoming the world. So when I stand on that map, it feels a little emotional to me, maybe it does for you. Standing on the world map in Salt Lake City Airport means I'm home. And that's the way I think we look at the rest of the world. Welcome here. You're all welcome here. And we hope that you have a fun, functional, inspirational time while you're here. I want to give a shout out of thanks to Bill Wyatt, to Gordon Huether, to Rob and all of our construction partners, and to Mike. We have been surprising and creating efficiencies since this airport began. And I just want to throw back to the point of the pandemic, when we didn't know what was going to happen and how the airline industry may or may not recover. But what this team did with our partners at Delta was find a way to cut 6 months off of our construction timeline, save millions of dollars in efficiency, and open this airport on time and actually in a functional way that brought us back and had the strongest downtown economic recovery in the nation. It's the kind of innovation that these guys are looking for. So I shouldn't be surprised, we shouldn't be surprised that that map is there today, after everyone and everything of the experts said it wasn't possible. Salt Lake City Airport found a way. And that is exactly the kind of people that run this airport and leave the lasting impression of this beauty that we get to enjoy for the next century. So thank you to your teams, and I hope you're all going to enjoy and be delighted by the surprises that are behind these curtains today.
Thank you, Mayor. The purpose of airports, airplanes, passengers, going places, receiving people. And I'm sure everybody knows that our hub carrier, Delta Airlines, is the largest carrier here, but they are certainly not the only. And our second largest carrier, which will be based here on Concourse B, is Southwest Airlines. And they have been a genuine, loyal partner. When we went to talk with them about additional gates in the expanded part past the wall down the way, they were all in right away. They've been a terrific partner to work with, and so here to represent Southwest and all of the airlines is the Corporate Affairs Vice President for Southwest Airlines, Steve Cisneros. Steve?
Well, wow, look at this crowd. Mayor Mendenhall, you know who's excited about the tunnel? Our customers are excited about the tunnel, and our employees. I mean, I cannot believe it's been almost 4 years to the day that I was here with our team on October 27th, 2020. People were socially distant, lots of masks as we opened up the new B gates. And as you stated, we just didn't know where things were gonna go with the pandemic. And we thought, my goodness, this tunnel's 4 years away, and here we are. So it's something to celebrate for all of us. Well, Mayor Mendenhall, thank you for your continued leadership and keeping Salt Lake International as one of the major economic engines and powerhouses of this community. Bill, thank you for the kind words, and you and your entire team are true partners. You've been a friend of Southwest for many years, and helping usher these projects, which are so complex, to make SLC a desirable airport for all airlines, and we appreciate the time, energy, and resources your team has devoted to making sure our employees and our customers have a wonderful experience. Before I go further, I want to recognize a couple people on our team. Please give a round of applause to our station leader, George Hunsis. Where are you, George? There you are. George leads over 250 of our local Southwest employees who are responsible for providing the Southwest hospitality to our people. And I also want to highlight the hard work done behind the scenes that works with Bill and his team to make sure Southwest operational needs are met and keep our costs low. And that work is spearheaded by our Airport Affairs Regional Manager, Justin Fox. You're over there somewhere. Hi, Justin. Thank you, Justin and George, for your leadership and helping grow our customer base here in Salt Lake. When the new terminal opened during the pandemic, we knew it would take some time to shorten the walk to our gates. People certainly got their steps in and enjoyed the great amenities this new airport has to offer. With the tunnel opening, we finally get to cut that walk in half, and that's something that we can all cheer about. While we won't get the steps in, we'll be able to have a quicker commute from our curb, and our customers are so happy to get to the B gates and fly to places that are important in their lives. With this new addition, we are excited. Southwest is very excited about our future here in Salt Lake, a place that we've called home since 1994. Over 40 nonstop flights to 20 destinations that serve 120 markets across North America, and we're doing that as best we can without nickel and diming our customers, not charging bag fees, and bring in the Southwest love and hospitality across the Salt Lake Valley. Again, thank you for your longstanding support of Southwest. We look forward to continuing our partnership together with this airport for a great place for travel to and for our employees to call home. Thank you.
So I'm just going to make one comment that may seem obvious to those of you who've been involved in the project. I get the question all the time, is the walk shorter? Well, it depends where you're going. And if you're going to B2, the walk is just the same. But most people are really going to the center portions of the terminal building. And so you're going to save as much as a half a mile in walking because of this new central tunnel. But geometry is geometry. We didn't reinvent that. And these are parallel concourses. So it's still a quarter mile, whether you're there or you're here, but you get to skip that half mile walking out of your way. I just figured I'm looking at all of these ambassadors of goodwill out here who'd love to spread that message, so there you have it. Now, in addition to the world map, you see at least part right now of an extension of the art program that is such an integral part of the new Salt Lake City International Airport. And the thing that is really exceptional, in my opinion, is very, very seldom, at least in the airport world, do you get to start with a plain piece of paper from the ground up, not only building an airport for the future, but integrating the art with the architecture. And back in the day, when the city was first contemplating this project, a lot of survey work was done to speak with the people of this region about what they wanted in a new airport. And the thing that came back were obvious things. We want more restrooms. We want potty parity, to be blunt. We want to be able to plug our devices in and have them charged. And then I think maybe the most important message of all, knowing that the majority of people who fly into Salt Lake don't actually walk out the front door, they get on another plane and go somewhere else. We want people to know where they are. The colors, the look, the feel, the texture, and in my humble opinion, as an outsider, most of this work was done before I arrived. I would just say, job very well done. I think that we have really achieved that. It would be hard to fly in and out of this airport and not know that you were in Salt Lake or in Utah, particularly when you can see the Great Salt Lake from the airport. So some time ago, the city very wisely procured the services of Gordon Huether, who has been a part of this project from the very beginning. And he had the basic instruction that I gave you, which is to make people understand where they are, what they're part of. And I think Gordon has done an amazing job, but I'd rather hear that from him. And he can talk a bit about what you see and what you're about to see, and the rest of the work that he has procured. You no doubt walked through the central tunnel to get here, the river tunnel. You heard the music. Gordon curated that list, although we did spend a few hours, more than a few hours, listening carefully to the lyrics, just to be sure. But we found the Post Malone song, I'll just say. He's been just such a great partner to work with, and I can't think of anybody better to hear from than Gordon Huether.
Morning, everybody. How'd you enjoy that journey through the river tunnel this morning? As Billy just shared, we also did the music. We did put the playlist together. And my friend right there, Mike Williams, shared with me a story this morning. He won't say it himself, so I'm gonna share it best I can. So he's watching this woman go down the escalator, entering the tunnel, and it was Ain't No Mountain High Enough playing, arms in the air, and gotta dance. And I just want you guys to celebrate the natural beauty of Utah, because that's what it's all about. Well, we're here again celebrating another important milestone for our beautiful Salt Lake City International Airport. And as your artist, I've been working shoulder to shoulder with the airport leadership, with Mike Williams' team, HD, the mayor's office, and my team back home, and many others for the past 10 years. Working hard to integrate major art installations throughout this new airport. Starting at when you enter the airport property, we have the peaks, right? That's 10 stories tall, that's 75 tons of love. And that's what first thing you see when you arrive, and it's the last thing you see when you leave the airport. At the front door, we have those beautiful escalator well. That's called the Falls, that sculpture there. So that greets you at the front door. Just before security, you have the plates and the benches. You go through security, you come out the other side, and you hit the canyon, which is a cousin to this one. And then we drop down into the river tunnel that we just talked about a little bit. We do have to turn that music up a little bit. It's a little, I want you to really feel it in your bones when you're walking through there. And now we're in what we call Canyon 2.0. And we're gonna unveil Northern Light in just a moment. But what all of these installations have in common is that all of it is about celebrating the natural beauty of Utah, and there is no doubt of where you are when you come into this airport. I have to say, there's actually, I've traveled all over the country in different parts of the world, and I have never seen major art installations stitched through the entire experience of being in the airport. So for that, I'm very grateful to all that have made this possible. And why does, you gotta ask yourself the question, why does art in airports matter? And it matters because art has the ability to reduce the stress of travel. Art elevates the human spirit and can create an inspiring experience, which you don't usually hear about when you go into an airport. So thanks to all of you that have made this possible, and very much appreciate the love and the support along the way. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, go ahead, you can clap. You wanna do it? Let's hit it.
Gordon, thank you once again for just this amazing contribution. This has been sitting in a shipping container for quite some period of time, and they spent the last several months erecting it, putting it in place. It'll change colors at all hours of the day. There are special lights projected on it in the evening. It's going to be a really extraordinary piece, kind of a cousin to the Falls on the other side of the airport. So we're really thrilled to add this to our collection of art here at the airport. And now we have a special guest, not part of the regular menu, but something that I think is very, very exciting and fits right into the theme of making this about place, about Utah, about Salt Lake. Let me introduce the Executive Director of the Utah Natural History Museum, Jason Cryan.
Thank you so much, Bill. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here today. And congratulations to Bill, you and your team for this amazing opening. What a phenomenal accomplishment. Listen, I'm absolutely thrilled to be here today to reveal a project that's been 150 million years in the making. After waiting that long, I hope that you'll forgive me for asking you to wait for another few minutes as we find out what it is. The Natural History Museum of Utah has long dreamed of having a presence here at the Salt Lake City International Airport to share an icon of Utah's rich natural or cultural history with the millions of people who are passing through this place each year. This partnership between the museum and the airport is the culmination of those dreams and was made possible by the generosity of some very close friends to the museum. So I want to recognize and thank the Lawrence T. and Janet T. D. Foundation, Kirk Ryrie, and Bob and Cindy Douglas here for their visionary support of our project. I'd like to thank Megan Holbrook here, who is on the museum's board of advisors, who was really the catalyst that took this project from thought to action. And we're grateful to our friends at the National Park Service for working together to safeguard Utah's natural resources, including the one that you're going to meet in just a minute. As I draw out the anticipation just slightly longer, I'd like to thank Tim Lee here, the museum's director of exhibits, for his unbridled creativity and his exquisite design work. And for bringing Tim's concept to physical reality, our partners Brock Sisson, Bowen Studios, 3Form, and Cross Construction. And lastly, to our friends here at Salt Lake City International Airport for embracing this partnership, for allowing us to be part of this special space, and for enthusiastically working with us to make this all happen. So, without further delay, like the Natural History Museum of Utah, the Salt Lake City International Airport is a gateway of exploration and adventure. And so is the ideal place to highlight the wonder, the boundless curiosity, and the thrill of discovery that make us human. As we considered how the museum could best inspire airport visitors about the wonders of our great state, we concluded that it must be an iconic example of Utah's natural history, something that, like both the museum and the airport, embodies Utah and conveys a powerful sense of place. We realized that it must be a dinosaur, and it must be one of the most iconic dinosaurs, known around the globe as the apex predator of the Jurassic 150 million years ago. Now, you're all turning around. That's great. For those of you who aren't, I invite you to turn around. And as we unveil Utah's state fossil, as it has never been seen before, I give you Allosaurus fragilis Ali at the airport. Every year and to be inspired about exploring more of Utah by seeing Ali at the airport. So before I turn it back over to Bill, just a few quick dino facts. Allosaurus fossils are found abundantly through Utah, and this particular Allosaurus fragilis specimen is a replica of a specimen that was excavated by the University of Utah 100 years ago at Vernal, Utah's Dinosaur National Monument. The Natural History Museum of Utah is the home of the world's most significant Allosaurus collection, and we invite you to come by the museum and learn more about Ali and some of her relatives. So again, thank you so much for this amazing opportunity to inspire exploration and discovery for the visitors here at the Salt Lake City International Airport. All of us at the Natural History Museum are incredibly honored to be a part of their journey. Back to you, Bill. Thanks.
Jason, thank you so much. I'm still remembering that first call that I got. Hey, would you like a dinosaur at the airport? Yeah, of course we would. We'll find a place for that. And it's just been a great partnership and association. I have 3 grandchildren. They live in Seattle. They come down and see me all the time. The first place they always want to go is the Natural History Museum. So congratulations to you and all of your colleagues for such a great organization. Thank you. All right, we've come to what may be the most important part of the program, which is cutting the cake, which is incredibly looking a lot like the canyons and the Northern Lights. So if everybody would sort of assemble over here, we'll find out who gets the TSA-approved knife. And do the duty. Nancy, are you directing this? Okay. got to go by it anyway, so might as well stop. Thank you so much for coming. Really a great time. These moments never last long enough, so it's back to being an airport. Thank you all very much.